God's timing is perfect, amen? Let's get into this. Today, I want to talk about someone near and dear to us. Not me, Abraham, but the one in the Bible. In Genesis, Abraham was called by God to leave his homeland of Ur, everything he knew, and step out in faith to a place he'd never seen by a God he never knew. To make him a leader, God made him promises, a great promise to be a great leader of a great nation and to bless the world through him. Because Abraham obeyed, God helped him. It was accounted to him as righteousness, it says somewhere in the Bible. It wasn't always easy, I'm sure. He made some missteps. God told him no and just go with you. And he took his nephew with him. Even in disobedience, God still worked through him. At one point, God showed Abraham the sin of a city, and he began to plead on the behalf of the people. And he said, if I can find 40 or 50 righteous, will you destroy the wicked with the righteous and the righteous with the wicked? And God said, okay, if you can find 50 righteous, 40 righteous. And I couldn't find 40. And he said, well, what if I find 30? All right, if you find 30, 10. It came down to 1, and he couldn't find no one. There's none righteous. And God said, all right. He said, can I save my nephew Lot at least? And God, rich in mercy, heard Abraham's plea and granted that request. Later, Abraham and Lot, they had land together. They left that place together. They were growing together. And the land wasn't able to bear them. In Genesis 13:6, it says, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And their herdsmen was getting in fights. Their sheep were probably getting in fights. I don't know. But Abraham knew they had to do something about this. So he said, all right, this land we have to choose between. It's not big enough for the both of us, so you pick where you want to go, and then I'll pick the other place. And Lot chose the better spot that looked better anyways. He was there. They were both there for some time, and Lot saw that Abraham's stuff was getting a lot better than his. Progressing more sheep, more cattle. Things were growing better. And he said, you tricked me. So they went ahead and they switched again. Abraham's like, all right, we'll swap again. That's fine. You could be over here. Well, Abraham continued to be blessed because where he placed his faith and obedience was in God. Lot's land struggled because it wasn't rooted in God's will. Where we put our trust really matters. What we obey grows. God does the watering. He brings the sun and increase in His time, not ours. Thank God. His timing is perfect. Let's move these mountains. Follow for more. Share if it helps somebody else. Thank you.